Okay, I'm just sitting outside here, so excuse me for squinting, but better than wearing sunglasses, I think. Um, so this is about the article, Don't Just Think Who You Are, Know Who You Are, How to Become Emotionally Independent. You all asked a question, which is a very interesting, in the question itself says a lot, because you've asked a question which I thought would be quite self-evident. You're saying, what does it mean by the desire to create? Well, earlier in the article, it's very clearly explained that the whole point is about creating solutions, creating answers to that which you feel compassion for. I mean, even the sentence it says, but their source is compassion and the desire to create. So I would have thought that it's pretty clear you want to create solutions to what you feel compassionate about. So anyhow, that basically answers your question. It creates solutions to whatever the problem may be so that you can be more creative. But the point is, you know, it was in the article, it was explained, and I think it's the third paragraph. And so the real lesson in your question is not just to answer your question, but to say, look how we read. Okay, now, you know, we go through our lives asleep. You think you're awake, but you're asleep. If you remember the exercise, or if you saw that one, is when you drive, like drive to work every day, you take the same route. The car, the bus, whatever it is, you take the same route every day. Do you remember anything you saw when you get there? As more effective if you're driving, if you're your own car. You can't remember anything, and yet you made it without any accidents. But yet you don't remember anything you saw on the way. So you slept through the drive. Now, most people, they sleep through their entire life. And this is exactly what you did. You read the article in your sleep. You take courses in your sleep. You listen to music. You watch TV. Everything you do in your sleep, and very little of it sinks in. Human beings generally do not put in much effort or much thought in the things they do, the things they experience, the conversations they have, and so on. And we're in a constant state of sleep. This is not new. It's in every religion, every tradition. It speaks of wake up, wake up. We have to wake up. And after all, that's what the word Buddha means, right? Buddha, it means the awakened one. He says, I'm Buddha, it means I'm awake. So obviously, if he's a Buddha and he's awake, therefore the rest of us are all asleep. So the real lesson in your question is to realize how you don't actually read, listen, converse, and so on, but yet you're spending most of your time asleep and thinking you're awake. This is a self-lie. So if you want a really big self-lie that all humans have, is, oh yes, I'm awake, I'm paying attention, I'm awake, I'm present. No, that's a big lie. You're asleep, you're not paying attention, you're not present. That's the truth. That's how you go through your life, okay? So put in as much effort as possible to be awake at all times. Every moment your body is feeling sensations, the weight of gravity, the pressure on your spine, the sensations under your feet, the texture of your socks, your shoes, the ground, every pebble, every crack, with every step. There's a tremendous amount of information that your body is being exposed to at every second, every moment. And so these are opportunities for you to learn to be present, or exercise being present at all moments, in paying attention to the sensations of your body at every moment. To be aware that you're breathing. Like our Buddha said, how do you meditate? He said, when you're breathing in, know that you're breathing in. When you're breathing out, know that you're breathing out. So that's how you meditate. So simple, right? But if you realize, you never know when you're breathing in or when you're breathing out unless you can't breathe, and you notice it. And the typical thing, right? You only notice and value something when you don't have it, when you've lost it. So there's the answer. All right. So anyhow, your question is very simple: to create solutions. So if we look at, it's quite interesting how this is turned around. If we look at the problem of being a human being, we're asleep. And your question is about the sentence, but their source is compassion, or we'll read the whole thing. The freedom of emotional independence is filled with emotion, hence its name, it's emotion, but not an instant of negative emotion. Negative emotions for an emotionally independent person only appear negative, but their source is compassion and their desire and the desire to create. Therefore, they become positive in the experiencing of them. So when I say how asleep you are and everybody is, this can get you very negative. Good. Be angry. Burn with that anger. But let that fire burn as an energy to fuel you to be creative, to find solutions for the compassion we have for the suffering of being a human being who lives through its life in a total state of sleep and a deep coma. For you and for everybody. So I hadn't really thought this out. It just came out now. But that's basically it. Is that I've told you something about yourself being asleep, which can get you very negative, very depressed. But if you're emotionally independent, it only appears negative, but if you're truly emotionally independent, or at least aspire to be, then you should be compassionate to yourself and others who are all asleep, and have the desire to create a solution for this sleep state, which, as I've explained to you, could be the sensations of your body at all times, knowing your breathing, being aware of everything that's going on around you, every sound that's going on around you, and so on. Driving is a wonderful opportunity to practice being awake, because when you drive, do you realize how many potential dangers there are? How many hazards there are? As you drive down the street and there are pedestrians or people on bicycles, every single one of them is a potential hazard. Every animal that is off a leash is a potential hazard, because you never know when one of these creatures is going to jump in front of your car, not notice you, not realize that you will kill them or hit them. So when you're driving, to be aware of every pedestrian, every bicycle, everything that's going on around you, and not only being aware of it, but sensing what direction is this person going to go. Where are they going to go? Are they going to go in front of you? Are they going to go around you? Are they not going to go around you? And so on. So you have great opportunities when driving a car or when walking. What about cars on the road? Is anybody losing control and running off the road and hitting you? Fellow getting his bicycle out of a locker room? This is a very nice marina I'm sitting at, outside of a laundromat, getting my laundry done, waiting for that to be done. So there are so many opportunities to be present, to be awake, and you have to put in that effort. The more awake you are, the more emotionally independent you will become, because you will see that everything that's happening, anything anybody is doing, as in the previous question about if somebody hurts me, that everything that's happening is out of their own pain, that nothing has to do with you. So being present and awake through the awareness practice of everything that you're sensing and everything around you helps you become independent, because you see the true reasons behind all the activities and events and the things that people are doing. Right? So all of this is tied together, as simple as it may be, as disconnected or irrelevant as it may appear. It is all ways of becoming more awake and more present, which allows this independence. And as you have that, you get a greater intuition, and your desire to solve problems and end suffering increases, and your creative ability to do that and come up with solutions also increases, which requires, of course, the submission of the ego, where you are not full of yourself, thinking you know. Whenever you say, oh, I know what you're thinking, talking to somebody, okay, well, you know what you think they're thinking. You don't actually know what they're thinking. You know what you think they're thinking. You have to be careful for all these things where you are assuming knowledge, assuming understanding, and realize that that is not really what's going on. You don't really have any understanding. You've got to open your mind to be able to see things from the other person's point of view. And remember that the other person doesn't even know what their own point of view is. So it really is a fine line, okay? And it all begins with this sensation of awareness, because if you ask somebody, what do you feel right now? Nothing, or fine, or whatever it may be. But that's not possible. You're always feeling all sorts of sensations. And, it's like kids. This little kid comes out of the pool and he's shivering, he's turning blue, and he doesn't even know he's cold. So, most humans are like that, even adults. You don't realize what your sensations are. You don't realize what you're actually feeling. And this is where you need to train yourself to be aware, starting with your own body and your own mind and your own thoughts. Okay? So I think that answers your question well enough and gives you a lot more to work with.